College, money, awesome. What are some application tips? What do kids do for fun? Partying, that's a big thing, the Greek life portion. So let's begin. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. The other day on my Instagram story, I put a little poll that said, filming an SDSU Q&A, ask away literally any questions, and then I reposted that on my TikTok, and y'all asked me so many questions, so today I'm just going to be going through all those questions that are literally about anything SDSU related and answering them for y'all, so I hope they provide some like insight and help. I know that the application for SDSU opens soon, so if you're like, hey, should I go to SDSU? First of all, the answer is yes, but this whole video is just gonna be like giving you insight to the school to help you decide if you do want to apply here and eventually end up going here. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to my channel because I will be making a ton more of SDSU content and just days in my life and college stuff. I'm a college YouTuber is what I'm getting at. Oh my god, why are the lights like that behind me? So one of the questions I got was, what are the pros and cons of San Diego State University? I have a whole entire video dedicated to the pros and cons of San Diego State, but right now I would say that the pros of going to San Diego State are the location. You are literally so close to the city, the mountain, the beach, the desert. You are just in the prime location. The weather, it is literally just like tanning beach weather year round. It is so beautiful here. The professors are also another pro of going here. I've had really great experiences with my professors. The people here are absolutely so nice and kind and loving. I know for me, a pro is that SDSU is a good academic school but also has a social life, so I really like that aspect of it. A few cons though are that there's really no school spirit. Tailgates aren't a thing. They basically got canceled my freshman year, which has been awful. So if you want a really big like football school where it's just like life's oriented around, go SDSU, stuff like that. Not really that kind of vibe. Classes sometimes are really hard to get into depending on your scheduling time. There's only a certain number of seats in class or sections, so that can make it really difficult to graduate on time, quote unquote, because if you have these classes that you need to take and you can't get in, it kind of just messes up your schedule a little bit. And yeah, those are just a few pros and cons, but go watch my whole video on pros and cons for a bit more information on that. This is a really cute question. I really liked it. Someone asked, is it easy to feel overwhelmed being at like such a big school? My answer to that is no. I've never felt overwhelmed being at San Diego State, and although there is like a population of 33,000 students, I think, combined with like undergrad and postgrad, it has never felt like a massive school. Like when I walk on campus, I still see all my friends in between classes and stuff, and I think especially being in Greek life, it makes the whole school feel a lot smaller to me because it is like your own little like niche and bubble almost within this big school. The campus isn't that big either. Like you don't have to get on a bus to go from one end to the other end, which I think is really helpful. It only takes like 15 minutes to walk from one side to the other, and the housing for the most part is like in clumps, so that makes the school feel small. And if you're nervous about going to a big school, I wouldn't say that San Diego State feels like one at all, so I wouldn't be afraid of that when coming here because I think there's a lot of factors that make it have like a small like homey vibe kind of thing. Another question is, what are my favorite things to do at SDSU? I also have another video about like my favorite things to do off campus at San Diego State, but on campus there's actually like so many cute little places that you can just go and hang out and like activities to do. One obviously is the food. There's so many cute places on campus and really yummy places to go eat food. Eureka, shout out to you, you're my favorite. And there's the turtle pond, which is really cute to go like sit by and chill and do homework. Definitely any place in the Union or the turtle pond is my favorite place to study on campus. But back to the first question, the parking garages on campus are also like a really abnormally cool place to like go and like chill and watch the sunset or like take pictures or just go up with your friends. There's this one parking garage in the way back of campus that like overlooks the whole highway, and at nighttime it's just really pretty to like look at all the cars pass by and like chill and talk with your friends there, so that's really, really cool. There's also the bowling alley on campus that I'm a huge fan of. I love it so, so much. And yeah, those are a few things that you can do on campus at SDSU. Another question is, what is the social life like compared to USD, which is University of San Diego, and UCSD, which is University of California, San Diego. San Diego State University kind of has the reputation of being the more social school out of all those three and the bigger party school, which is really, really true. I don't really know people that go to USD or UCSD personally, but like just when you like come across them, they're like, oh, you go to San Diego State, like you guys are so much like more fun than us. And it's like, yeah, like we are. And that's mainly just because our Greek life is like way bigger here, and the school is also just a bigger school, so that kind of like combines into it. And like UCSD, the stereotype is like they're just like the really, really smart kids, and USD is like the really rich kids, and San Diego State is just like the party kids. Obviously that's not 100% true in every situation, but I would say overall like San Diego State is a lot more socially driven than the others, I would say. Okay, now on to like the Greek life portion. I got so many questions in regards to that, so let's begin. So somebody asked, when is the best time to join a sorority? I don't think there's like a best time to join a sorority. It's really like if you want to join one, join a sorority. You can join as a freshman, sophomore, junior, even a senior, or as a transfer, sororities have to allow like a certain amount of upperclassmen into their chapter. So it doesn't matter if you're older, you're not like at a disadvantage or anything. So just rush when you want to rush and when you feel like financially you're able to do it, and just like socially and emotionally and just all that stuff. So it doesn't really matter when you rush. A lot of girls were saying, should I do COB? Like, if you want to do it, like go ahead and do it. Some of my friends did that last year and they got into sororities and they're so happy. So like do it if you want, and if not, then that's fine too. Which leads into the question of, is it worth going to San Diego State if you're not in Greek life? Yes, I think that's just dependent on like what you value and believe in and what you think will like make your college experience whole or not. So I know some people that tried to get in Greek life, it didn't end up working out, and they had a miserable time and ended up transferring because they were so set on being in Greek life. That's what they valued as like making their college experience whole. So without it, they were like, it's pointless for me to be here if I'm not going to be in Greek life. And they kind of like dwelled on the situation at hand. But then also like, I know my freshman year I wasn't in Greek life, and yes, there were times where I like pitied myself and I was like, oh, I wish I was in Greek life. Like this could have been easier. I could have gone to this. I could have done this. Like just being completely transparent. Like there were hard times, and I know like some of my friends took it a lot better than others not being in Greek life. But at the end of the day, like I know from my perspective, I looked at it as like, okay, like I'm not in Greek life, but I sort of like view myself as someone who's a part of the Greek life community, because all my friends for the most part were in sororities, and like I was able to still go to parties and hang out with kids in Greek life, and they didn't really like look down on me or anything for not being in a sorority for the most part. But I know some people do have really like sticky, rough situations where it's like not the best time for them if they're not in Greek life. So I think that's just really like a situational thing. I know kids that like just didn't even care to join Greek life, and they were like, nah, that's not for me, and they've had the best college experience. Yes, it is a big part of culture at San Diego State, but as you get older, I think you just come to realize like Greek life isn't everything, and like yes, it is for life, but there's so much more, and like you don't just have to be friends with girls in your like chapter. You can be friends with girls in other chapters. Like all my friends are in every single chapter basically. My answer to that question is just like, yes, it is worth it to go to state if you're not in Greek life, but you just have to have like a certain mindset and view of it. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that made sense at all. Someone asked, what can I put on my application as an in-state student from San Diego that will make me stand out? College applications, no matter where you apply to, it's a competition of making yourself seem like you're a better candidate and a better fit for the school than anyone else. So it's really just about finding like what the heck is going on outside? So back to what I was saying, when you're filling out an application, it's just really about making yourself stand out and showing like what you can bring to the school, like what about you makes you a good candidate. Show off like a skill that you have, or a hobby that you have, or like a volunteer experience that you have that like makes you stand out, or just like maybe it's your grades that really like show why you're amazing. Don't like speed through the application, not care about it, because I think that the effort that you put into an application will like benefit you in the end. So whatever you put in, you will get out. Two people asked what my favorite beaches are around San Diego State. Windansea is my ride or freaking die. That beach is absolutely beautiful, especially for sunsets. And I'm big fan of Mission. Like it's like family fun vibes. I really like that. I don't like PB at all, and I know you live there as a senior, and I will probably live down there when I'm a senior, but I just don't really like that vibe. But definitely Windansea and Mission are my two favorite beaches. Someone asked if I recommend winter classes. I've done winter classes both winters so far of being in college. So my first winter I took 2 classes, and my second winter I took 3 classes. I've always done 1 through San Diego State because I think they have a limit of 3 units, and then the others at community colleges. I really recommend it. The course length is so short, and in my opinion the classes are so much easier. It's like 4 weeks of your life, not even like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I don't even know. It is such a short time frame that like it's just done. I'd rather like bust out a class than drag it on for a whole semester. So I personally do recommend winter classes, but I know others don't like them because they love having like an actual break during winter break. But I'm not like that. I like getting ahead and being on top of stuff. So yeah, take a winter class or 2. I get asked a lot of questions in regards to like transfer students and like what their experience is like at San Diego State. I don't know any transfer students, so I can't speak upon like what my friends' experiences were like as a transfer student, but go into it with an open mind. Like nobody cares that you're a transfer. Like there's so many transfers at San Diego State. You still have like 2 or 3 years, however many years at San Diego State. Like make it the best experience of your life. And yeah, like join Greek life. I know that's like really helpful to like initiate getting to meet friends and just like really put yourself out there, and you'll have a great time, I'm sure. Someone asked how often I go off campus. I go off campus every single day. I technically right now don't live on campus, so I'm always off campus campus, I guess you could say. Definitely as a sophomore, I would try to get out like every other day. Like I'm just always off campus. My mom would sometimes be like, Megan, stay on campus more, you're going off too much. But I just love exploring San Diego. There's so much to do. I love the whole like adventure real world aspect of going here. And it is a lot easier when you do have a car. Like I know at first, like I would just be Ubering places and using Zipcar to go off campus. And that is a really big part of life, I'd say, at San Diego State, like going off campus and going to the beach or just doing other things, going to restaurants off campus. So yeah, that leads on to the question of what do kids do for fun at San Diego State? Partying, that's a big thing. Just gonna put that out there. Partying is a really big thing on weekends and even weekdays, honestly. Going to the beach is really big. A lot of people go surfing, hiking, shopping at all the malls or in all the cute little like parts of San Diego. Eating is a really big thing, obviously, just because there's so many food choices all around San Diego. Watching the sunset, swimming in the ocean like at sunset time, going on cute little picnics at like little parks all around San Diego. Driving around is a really big thing, and yeah, that's what we do for fun at San Diego State University. Someone asked, how much does it really cost to attend San Diego State University? Tuition, food, housing, books, all of that. So I will say that the cost of tuition does differ every single year that you attend San Diego State University. By that I mean housing is going to be the most expensive your freshman year because you're living in dorms and they overcharge you. And then when you're allowed to move into an apartment on campus or like housing off campus, it is just a lot cheaper. So I know my freshman year I paid like $18,000 to live in a double in Sura. And then last year in Granada, it was like $15,000, something that was substantially cheaper by a few grand, but still kind of expensive. But housing does decrease. In regards to food, you can choose your meal plan, so that will change the price of what you pay. If you want to spend a lot, you can get like the Fat Boy meal plan, and if you don't, you can get like the Flex 5, and then sophomore year, you're not even required to have meal plans, so that saves you money if you want to go that option. In regards to tuition, depending on if you're an in-state student or out-of-state student, it kind of varies. I know as an out-of-state student, I pay per unit, which is like $364. I may be a little off per unit. And like this semester I'm taking 24 units, so 24 times that number is what I'm paying for my classes. And then on top of that, there's also like basic tuition. So there's kind of some factors that will vary for you depending on the number of classes you take, the meal plan you have, and the housing that you have. I know online they say the price is like $42,000, and that includes like miscellaneous things like books, because that also varies. Like freshman year, I literally got maybe a book or two for the whole year, but then this year I've gotten so many books that have been more expensive. So there's no like set answer of like this is how much it costs to attend San Diego State. There's other factors that go into how much your college experience costs. By that I mean like if you're always Ubering off campus, eating at restaurants off campus, your experience is gonna be a lot more expensive than it is had you stayed on campus, used your meal plan, not Ubered. So those are factors to just consider and keep in mind while thinking like, oh, college, money, awesome, great. Someone asked, how did I get into San Diego State University? I also have a whole video on that you guys can go check out and watch. My stats though, just to be more specific, I got a 30 on my ACT, and I had like a 3.99 or 3.98 unweighted and a 4.0 weighted GPA, and like I was a 4-year varsity athlete for soccer and lacrosse, and I was in like my improv club, National Honor Society, and Interact club. So that's just kind of like who I am and what I brought to the school. And I also got into the honors college with those stats. And a lot of people, like this goes on to the question like what are some application tips and what are some do's and don'ts. I always struggle with like answers to those questions because obviously when I applied 2 years ago it was a lot different, like the requirements and stuff, and it gets harder each year. But overall I would kind of just say like in your application, put time into it. As I've said before, your time and effort of what you put into the application will benefit you in the end. If they look at it and it's like a incomplete application, obviously that's not going to help you. The application, I don't also remember the exact application. I just remember it was so simple in my mind. I was like, okay, I don't really have to do a lot for it. It didn't take me long to complete. I was like, oh yay, this is fun and easy to like do. So yeah, I wish I like knew more about application tips. Present yourself in your best light. That is horrible advice, but that's literally like all I have to say about it. And when you're applying as an in-state student versus out-of-state student, I know the standards are different, and like out-of-state, honestly, it's like a bit easier to get in. What is a day like at SDSU was another question. That looks different for everyone. I have so many days in my life that I've filmed before, so you can go watch them all if you want, and that gives you some insight on what my day's like. But I would say that there is a massive social presence in everyone's day-to-day life. Like everyone's always with their friends doing stuff, or there is like the academic part where people are in in libraries, in class, doing all that. As I said, like a ton of people are just always going to the sunset. So that's like a really normal thing for kids to do, is just leave campus and go watch the sunset. So that is it for today's video. I have so many more questions. Like literally I was just scrolling through my phone getting them. So thank you so much for all of them. But that's it for today's video. Just wanted to get these up and out there to help y'all out. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Aztecs.